Who are a few of your role models today?
It's like, I'd say my sister, even though she's not an important person to the world, but she's done a lot to like help the community that I live in. She went to Japan, and she was also in New Mexico building adobe houses for the Pueblo Indians, and that's really cool. And she's a smart person, and she's a good student, so she's like my role model, and I look up to her because she's not obnoxious like other people that I know in my school. She like cares for people, and she's not like, she's a giver, not a taker.
Who are your role models today?
Why do you admire them?
You may be attracted to someone as a role model because of what they have accomplished or because of their stance in the world.
Perhaps your role model helps others or has overcome some difficult circumstance in life.
The qualities or achievements of the person you look to as a role model serve as an example on which to pattern your own life.
So who are your role models? That's what we'll be talking about. Hi everyone, I'm Jack.
And I'm Beth. And this is Real Faith TV.
We met one teen at the start of our show whose sister was her role model.
We will also talk with our studio guests and meet Matt, who will tell us about the role models in his life.
But first, let's meet a few more teens we met at the Sony Lowe's Theater in Freehold and find out who their role models are.
Let's check it out.
Who are a few of your role models?
Jessica Simpson, Christina Aguilera, Lindsay Lohan.
For me, Celine Dion. How about you, Britney Spears?
I love Britney Spears.
Yeah, Britney Spears is great. I like her.
Adam Sandler. I don't see how other people see like celebrities as role models because there's nothing to them.
You know, my parents, my friends, they influence me the most.
I look up to my parents and my family.
My sister. For my mom, she's like smart and she knows how to do the right thing, so I try to be like her.
My mom.
My mom.
My sister.
My brother, I'm just really close with him, and like I just I look up to him and I listen to what he says.
My dad's pretty cool.
My dad, just because he's my dad and like he's who I'm probably gonna grow up to be like.
My mom. Jennifer Aniston. My sister.
My sister.
My mom.
My brother.
I don't have a role model. My parents and God.
My parents and God.
My father and my mommy.
My parents.
Some of my friends are actually some of my role models. Like, she's my best friend, she's my role model. And my parents.
My parents and, I don't know, my friends, I guess.
My friends, Jay-Z, he's my favorite rapper. Notorious B.I.G.
My parents, some athletes, Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter.
My family. And I guess teachers because they help me learn.
Mr. Gill, my math teacher, and my cross-country coach.
Pete Sampras, Bud McCormick from Jackson Memorial High School.
All drummers, because I'm a drummer and it's really cool.
My dance teachers.
Steven Spielberg, so I want to be a film director.
I have one particular role model. He was a journalist in South Africa who fought apartheid named Donald Woods. And I always admire fighting adversity, especially for when you really don't mind suffering any repercussions for your cause.
I don't think I really have a role model. There are like some people like that I do look up to, but I just try and do what I think is right, I guess, and try and be a role model for other people.
I think I have a couple different role models, but if I had to narrow it down to just one, I think I'd say probably my Aunt Mare. She's an amazing person, and if I could be like anyone, I'd want it to be her.
Well, I read a lot of books, and my favorite book series is Lord of the Rings. I'm sure most people have seen the movies, and my favorite character from them was always Samwise Gamgee, and he's my role model because he's persevering and he gets on that track and he just stays on it. He went with Frodo to like the land of darkness and everything. I mean, that was just great. Let's meet our studio guests and find out who their role models are.
Okay, they are Liz, Cora, Anthony, Matt, Caitlin, and Ross.
So, who are your role models?
Well, I think I agree with most of the kids out there. They said, their parents are their role models, God. One kid said Derek Jeter. I think Derek Jeter is one of my role models, too. Well, he is. He goes, he plays, most of the 162 games for the Yankees, and he goes, all out on every single play, plays injured. And, you know, that inspires me in a lot of things that I do. I play sports, and my mom's always yelling at me because I always, you know, go out and play until I get hurt or something. And my mom's always like, you know, you're not making the $10 million a year, so I mean, you can't go out and get injured. I don't know. I admire him in that aspect.
I would have to say Audrey Hepburn, just because, well, I'm an actress and she was wonderful. She was a brilliant actress, but also when she was a child, she would help people during the Holocaust. When she got older, she died after helping children in Africa. She was never afraid to completely dedicate herself and to spend the money that she made in Hollywood on other people who were less fortunate.
Yeah, I don't really have one specific role model, but every aspect of success in my life, whether it be like music or school or anything like that, I have a role model for each aspect. Like for music, it would be Eddie Van Halen is one of my favorite guitarists, and Al Di Meola is really good too. And then school, I guess it would be one of my friends who's really smart, who does really well in school. And when it comes to making good decisions in life, it would be my older cousin. So it's good to have a whole wide variety of role models.
I'd have to say my parents, because they taught me so much and they set a good example and they're always there for me. And my godmother and my Uncle Joe, because he's a missionary priest.
That's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people have relatives as their role models because you're with them all the time and everything. So you get to see and they sort of influence you when you're growing up and everything, like your parents, your grandparents, and they become your role models just because you're so close to them.
My mom would definitely be my role model because she's a giver, and no matter what, she always says yes to people if they ask for anything, and it's really great, and I love her so much, so I think I'd want to be like her.
My favorite role model is Buddy Rich. I have this video of him at my house, and just watching him play just makes you want to be him because he's so good.
I noticed that a lot of you guys, a lot of the teens on the street also said that family members were role models for them. In a recent online survey, it revealed that nearly half of the young women who responded looked to their mothers as their role model.
In another survey, 42% of 750 teens named a relative as their role model.
In a third survey, 46% of the teens said their role model is a family member, not a pop icon or sports star.
Let's meet our spotlight guest, Matt, and find out who his role models are.
Well, I think some of the popular role models of teens today are just any celebrities, actors, musicians, athletes, just really anybody that's famous and has money. It may seem like today it's hard to find good role models because definitely people getting in trouble, celebrities that get in trouble and go to jail and break the law are definitely publicized more. A big story would be R. Kelly got arrested, or Michael Jackson got arrested, or James Brown got arrested, Mike Tyson. But you don't really hear so often about people like Dikembe Mutombo giving money to build a major hospital in his home country in Africa, or Kurt Schilling raising a lot of money to fight ALS. But they're out there. A few of my role models, well, one actually is guy used to play for the Yankees, Don Mattingly. I was always a fan. He was always my favorite baseball player growing up because I'm left-handed. It's kind of quirky, but I always had an affinity for players who were left-handed because I just thought it was cool that they were like me and there weren't that many of them out there. So he's left-handed, so he kind of became my favorite player. But and then as I kind of grew older and more aware about things, I always noticed he was always just a nice guy. He never had problems with anybody on his team or with his coach or with members of the media. And another person I think I admire is my grandpa. I've always been pretty close to him because we share a birthday. We have the same birthday. But he's a really strong guy, and he's been through a lot. He's in the military. He's had heart problems, and he's just seen a lot and done a lot, and he's fought through a lot, and he's always there, and he just hasn't been beaten yet.
I agree with Matt that there are plenty of good role models out there, and it's a shame that you don't hear about them as much.
I liked his role models too. They are both people who cared about others and tried to live a good life. One was famous and one wasn't.
And you know, it doesn't really matter whether your role model is famous or not.
They don't even have to be alive.
They can be people you know personally or people whose story has inspired you.
The important thing is that they inspire you to feel good about yourself and help build your self-esteem and self-worth.
So, what ways have role models inspired you guys to feel good or to do good?
Well, as I said before, my role model was Buddy Rich. And the video I watched of him, when he tried to do stuff and I would try to do the things that he did, you know, I'd usually mess up, but I'd get back on track and usually complete, you know, what he did.
So kind of like inspiring you to try and try again type of thing?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Well, like I said before with Audrey Hepburn, and because I act, it's good to see that not everybody gets corrupted and that you can do good, because there's so much stuff that goes along with the ideas people say of being an actor. It's like people assume that they're just living large and they're being selfish and, you know, doing all these things that they really don't need. But it's good to see that not everyone's like that, and it's good that there's a person there who can demonstrate that.
Yeah. You know, I read this book, another book, and it's called The Great Line of God. It was about St. Paul, and after I read that, I realized, like, what a good guy this was, and it sort of led me to live a better life, and it was really good.
I think for me, you know, my aunt just gives so much of herself between like volunteering at her church or like her and my grandpa as well doing like hospice work and all sorts of stuff. She just totally inspires me to give of myself and to help others, and I think that that's something I look to in a role model. So
I think that, you know, I said Derek Jeter earlier, and, you know, sometimes just watching him play baseball, like the way he plays and like how he literally gives like 110% on every single play, and how he's like a leader to the Yankees. I mean, he was the first captain since, you know, Matt said Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly was a captain of the Yankees. There hasn't been one in 8 years until Derek Jeter was named captain. And it's just, you know, shows that he does, you know, every day lead his team on the field. And if you look in the stats, he may not be like the best hitter or the best fielder, but he brings something special to the table when he plays, and it's stuff that you don't see in the box score after the game. You know, diving plays that would have fallen in for a base hit, but he, you know, made the out and saved a run. And, you know, that's just special that he just, you know, tries to get everything, and I think he's just a special player.
Yeah, a lot of people admire him and want to be like him. Did you ever hear the saying, "I want to be like Mike"? It was used in commercials featuring Michael Jordan. I think he was selling sneakers or something. How many kids wanted to buy the product he was selling because they wanted to be like him?
many people want to be like or imitate their role models. Most of the time, that's why they pick them as their role models, because they want to be just like them.
Let's go back to the teens at the Sony Lowe's Theater to see how much they try to imitate their role models.
Let's check it out.
What about these role models do you try to imitate?
Christina Aguilera. I like her singing, so I want to be a singer when I get older.
I don't really imitate them. I just like their songs and try to sing their songs.
Yeah.
Try to imitate only the positive things.
So you look at a person and you go, okay, doing that is not nice, and you don't.
Okay, like I don't pick up bad things from people, and I like imitate the way they dress and the way they put their hair or something.
What about your role model do you try to imitate?
Like the way she acts and stuff. Like I think she's really cool. Yeah.
I guess their personality, I guess like his confidence, his poise on the court and off the court, and just his like overall good personality, I guess.
Is Jesus Christ or any religious leader a role model for you?
No.
Not really. Kind of. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Like, yes. Going to church and praying is a good influence.
Well, Jesus is a good role model. He lived a great life, preaching like about peace. It's really important to have peace instead of war.
I think he was very admirable, and I think unfortunately people lose his message today.
I like the comment the girl made about only imitating the good things about a role model.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the role model you choose is in some way the person you want to be.
And not everyone is going to have all the qualities you want to have.
Matt talked to us about what he likes or tries to imitate about his role models.
Let's check it out.
Well, some things about my role models I try to imitate is, well, with athletes, just always playing hard in sports, well, in that particular area, I guess, because I don't like guys that are just lazy and don't really try. I mean, I don't like that. So I always try and if my role models are guys that play hard, I like to play hard and just always do my best, no matter how good or bad that actually may be, and just be like a nice guy, just be nice to people. I always do try to be a role model for younger children who are in my life, be someone that they can look up to and say, he's a nice person, I want to be like him.
I agree that it's important to be a good role model.
Yeah, and I don't think teenagers realize that they can also be role models, that younger children look up to them.
So have any of you guys had a situation where someone younger has looked up to you or tried to imitate you?
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old little brother, and he tries to do everything that I do. He follows me around, and then he's like, Mommy, I want to do this like my sister and everything. So, my little...
Yeah, I have... Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, I have a little sister also, and my parents are always telling me to be a good role model and do all the good things because my sister wants to do everything. And it gets really annoying sometimes, but I understand and I try to do the right stuff.
My sister is also 4, and especially when I've got friends over, she just really wants to be part of the group, and she'll pretty much bang down the door just to try to be in there and do whatever we're doing. And if we try to lock her out, because sometimes you want to, she'll start crying. She really just imitates everyone.
My little brother, he even looks like me. Like, he has the curly hair and everything, but he does a lot of the stuff that I do, and it's funny, like, just watching him. It's like a little me.
I don't have any younger siblings, but I do a lot of babysitting. And it's funny because my cousin and then these 2 other girls babysit. I mean, you guys all know, like, I love the color lime green. Like, that's my thing. And all 3 of these girls, it's their favorite colors now, too. So, like, that just shows that when you're older, I mean, little kids look up to you. They want to be like you. They think it's so cool that you're giving them time and attention. And so any little thing, whether it's your favorite color or wanting to do whatever you're doing or look like you, I mean, it's true. Younger kids look up to us as teens.
Yeah. Really, we are all role models to each other as well.
I know that I find strength just spending time with all of you guys. I mean, all of you guys have such amazing relationships with Christ and in faith, and that inspires me to want to go closer to God. So in a way, I guess you guys have been like faith role models to me.
Aww. Yeah, I feel that way too.
There are many people who inspire us in our faith.
Let's go back to our interview with Matt and find out how his faith influences who he chooses as role models and who he believes to be the ultimate role model.
My faith does kind of indirectly influence who my role models are, because specifically in cases of like Jesus or a priest, they're a religious figure, and so my faith definitely is a reason that I look up to them. But then in other cases, like an athlete or a famous person who I would look up to, I don't necessarily look and see if they're Catholic, but just that they're a good person and they personify Catholic values and they treat other people with respect, things like that. So in that way, it does influence who my role models are. I think really Jesus is the ultimate role model for anybody. You don't even have to be Christian or Catholic to follow Jesus' teachings. They really apply to anybody. Just be kind to all people, really, and just love your neighbor and forgive at all costs. And that is really hard for all of us to really follow because we're not Jesus, we're not perfect, can't always do that. But Jesus really is the ultimate role model, ultimate person to strive to be like.
I knew his ultimate role model was going to be Jesus.
Jesus really is the ultimate role model. There are also many others in our faith history who are great people to imitate because they had Jesus as their role model. They are the saints.
In the Catholic tradition, Mary and the saints are wonderful role models for anyone trying to live a faithful life.
We can look to the scriptures for the example of Mary as the first disciple. She responds in love and trust to whatever God asks of her.
We look to St. Francis of Assisi as a role model for living simply with respect for the earth and the environment.
St. Vincent de Paul is a model of compassion and care for the poor and suffering.
And we find a young woman striving to do even the smallest things with great love in St. Therese of Lisieux.
Are any of these saints role models for you guys?
It's definitely St. Joan of Arc. She was awesome. The fact that she was willing to stand up for what she knew was right, even though people were calling her crazy and were going to torture her and murder her, and that she was willing also to stand up for her country. And she was just all around, she was just a fearless person who knew what was right, and she wasn't afraid to face it no matter what was going to happen.
Well, as I said before, St. Paul is like my favorite saint, and I look up to him as a role model because like he was this really bad guy, and he just complete turnaround when God really asked him to, and he just a complete turnaround and became this great guy who spread the word of God, and even when people didn't want to listen to it, he would tell them, and he's my favorite saint, definitely.
Well, my Uncle Joe, he's a Maryknoll missionary priest in Russia, and he's built a church there, and he's baptized and confirmed people in the Catholic faith. But it's a difficult job for him because the Russian government persecutes him on a daily basis because they don't want him to spread Catholicism there.
Yeah, like that's really cool, like going on missions and everything. I admire anybody who can do that, like just leave your home, pack up, and go someplace you've never been before and spread the word of God there. You don't even know the people. That takes a lot of courage.
I actually think a really big faith role model for me is actually the pastor of my church, because he, although a lot of people don't think it or don't see it, I feel like he really reaches out to the teens and the youth of our church. And like I've emailed him before to talk to him about things, and he always responds, and he'll come up to me after Mass and say, "Hi, Beth, how are you?" And that's just something I really respect, that somebody older and so wise in my eyes in the church takes time to listen to me and hear what I have to say and help me through my situations. But what about Jesus? How is he the ultimate role model for you guys?
Jesus loved everyone unconditionally, and that's everything that our religion is based on. Therefore, he has to be the ultimate role model because he's the only person who's truly been able to love even the people who are torturing him and murdering him. He could love them completely, and he was willing to die to save them.
He showed how to give a lot of respect to people. He was really respectful, and that's what you should do, give respect.
Yeah, I saw this movie, The Passion of the Christ, and after I walked out of that, I was like, whoa. Because even though it wasn't like an exact biblical interpretation, it really made you realize like what Jesus let happen to him to save us. It was just like amazing.
Well, yeah, and also Jesus was also just pretty much God himself coming down. So if God sends a piece of himself down, he just tells people, this is what you should at least understand, that this is the way of life that you should be going about.
I think one of the biggest things that Jesus showed us through his life that I try and emulate in my own is how he is so accepting of everyone, from sinners to saints to the little children. He welcomed everybody who wanted to come to him to be a part of his life. And that's what he's just waiting for us to do, is to come to him and welcome him into our own hearts. And I think that in that respect, I try and do that in my own life when I meet new people. Maybe they don't wear the clothes I typically see people in, or they don't look cool, but you have to be accepting of everyone that crosses your path, because that's what Jesus did. And like we said, I mean, he is the ultimate role model for us.
Yeah, it's like there's that story of Jesus and the children, and the apostles were sending them away, and Jesus told them to let the children come to me. Like, that's how you should live your life, accepting of everything like Jesus.
And we're so lucky today in our world, because as teens, we have so many things out there that can help us to see Jesus' influence in our life and use him as our role model, whether it's something like this show or, I mean, they have the books, Chicken Soup for the Christian Teenage Soul, which I'm reading right now. I'm reading it right now. And so, I mean, we have so many options out there to help us, whether it's talking to our youth ministers at our church or our pastors or each other on this show or posting things on our website. If you're watching the show, I mean, we just have so many options of ways that we can relate to other people and talk about Jesus and really use him as an active role model in our lives. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, because our parents, well, most of our parents, they had, you know, really strict Catholic schools, but, you know, that's how they learned about Christ. You know, they went through a whole school of nuns telling them what to do with the rulers and everything.
My dad went to a school like that.
Yeah. But, you know, we have a little bit easier nowadays. I think we take it for granted how, you know, we could just watch, you know, turn on TV and find programs like this.
Yeah, it's like, but it's great that we have stuff like that, and like all these retreats are springing up everywhere. People can go to the retreats and you meet all these Catholic teens from like all over the place, and that's really fun. In the teaching and life of Jesus, we find the pattern for our own life in the ways of holiness.
From Jesus, we learn what it means to love God and one another.
He provides an example of forgiveness and a model for service that we might follow in his footsteps.
The popular phrase, WWJD, what would Jesus do, reflects the struggle that all Christians have to pattern their lives on Christ.
Who are your role models? Do you try to pattern your life after Jesus? We want to know.
Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
And remember that Scripture tells us to strive to be perfect as your Heavenly Father is perfect.
Jesus is the perfect manifestation of God.
As such, he is the best role model a Christian can have.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.